G'day jabronis, it is Averd back with you again. Welcome here to a recap. I'm just going to press play on it of my games against Sobi for the Draft League. You can see everybody kind of in the Discord on the side there. We're all just having a fun time, kind of chatting about the game. I'm pretty excited for it. Sobi is running kind of like an ultra like ZapBeasts deck, I believe it was called. Pretty scary, obviously, but I did feel pretty confident going into it. We did open with the busted Rogue Ring. In this one, the hand, other than the Rogue Ring though, isn't super great, not gonna lie. Definitely, like if I top decked a Oak setup, it could be nutty, but I don't like my chances. And he's gonna go first, and he's opened very strong here. Like the Arceus isn't super great, but he has no energy to attach, so that's great for us. We open with a Poipole and the Zorua. So the only downside of this next turn is gonna be not having the Weavile. But what I can do is just attach for turn, and then still be able to Rogue Ring, and I can pick up a Sneasel, and probably the red and blue, because that would guarantee that I can get the Zoroark up into play. Yeah, I imagine red and blue is going to be the play here, because then I can get the Zoroark into play and have the energy on the board. Hooper could potentially just be a sacrificial lamb for me here. It does put Sobi closer into Blacephalon turn if I want to go down that path, but since Sobi has no, like the only disruption Sobi has is Elima, and if he plays it, it's whatever, but we see an energy attachment, we see an evolution into Zeb Striker, so Sobi has a pretty strong hand going on here, and we see the switch, so incredibly good start here for Sobi. Gets rid of that Muck though. That Muck could be interesting in this matchup. With the power of Alchemy, it prevents me from using things like the Instruct Oranguru, but it does also garner some negatives for Sobi. So he puts Ultra Space in play, which is a really, pardon me, fortunate thing for this matchup for me. Since I can now just use that to search for a Naganadel freely on this turn, or I can just choose to get another Poipole if I want to. We see a Stealthy Hood, which is very good for me. So obviously I want a red and blue here. I'm probably going to be discarding, I'm honestly contemplating here discarding Ultra of the Moon. I know that I have a good chance of getting close to knockout, but I do think my safest bet here is grabbing either a Poipole or a Naganadel. I think I am going to choose the Poipole though, just because getting another one of those down is great. Then I can bench the Sneasel, and then I can red and blue and Rogue Ring again to guarantee Weavile. So I think that is the play I'm going to go with there. We get the Spit Poison, and we are just going to double bench up here. Sobi doesn't really have a way to gust and do damage that way. And we are going to red and blue. I think I want to hold on to one of the Ultra Beasts. I might not be holding on to both here. Just choosing to ditch them because I have Zoroark for trade, right? So I could just discard Ultra of the Moon with that. So I think that's the plan, is to grab Zoroark and then use Ultra of the Moon. So we are going to get the Zoroark up, we are going to get 2 more energy into the field of play, and then because of Rogue Ring with Hooper, we can guarantee ourselves any kind of draw support that we need heading into next turn. We do have the option to trade. I'm just deciding on whether I want to get rid of Ultra of the Moon. I think I do. The retreat isn't super impactful in the matchup against Sobi, and it's not like I need to do any stadium bumps. We do hit a Field Blower, not really needing to use it. I do choose to attach an energy here, I think, to the Guzzlord, because I know that there is a good amount of energy in play, and I can Rogue Ring now, guarantee the Weavile. I had the opportunity to red and blue there for another Weavile, doing it that way, but then if I top deck the Weavile, it's just really bad. I think I'm going to try and hunt for one of the Naganadels here. Yeah, the charging up Naganadel makes a lot of sense here. We're expecting Sobi to knock us out in the next couple of turns, and then to be able to reply with a knockout. So the way I want to play this is knocking out his Buzzwole GX with Glutton GX, because that puts him down to only 2 prizes remaining, and then all I need is 4 energy in play for the Red Banquet Guzzlord to finish the game off. So the plan here is knowing that he can't really knock me out with... he can't really knock me out with the Buzzwole on this turn, so then I can potentially get the Weavile down and attempt to Dark Strike with Hooper on the following turn. It will require a little bit of setup, but I think the deck has the capability of doing it. Ideally, I also wish I could have drawn into... maybe hindsight here, I could have chosen to have drawn into... what's it called? Oh my god, I'm having a brain blank. Choice Band. Choice Band with the Naganadel would have been great. This is why I held on to the Field Blower, so now I can get rid of the Shrine, but he is going to chip everything perfectly for himself, so now that Mimikyu that's in play is going to prevent me from using Zoroark's ability. However, we do have the Stealthy Hood and we do have an Aganadel. So the Stealthy Hood is going to go into that Weavile, and we do have an Aganadel in play to be able to revive some energy for us if we need it. We do have a lot on board right now, enough to where Zoroark could attack next turn, which is fantastic. So we are going to see that Stealthy Hood come down onto the Weavile, and we are probably going to see that Field Blower take out the Shrine of Punishment. I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to happen, and probably at this stage we can just use the energy in hand and the energy on the Guzzlord to put on the Hooper. There's no real reason to take it off the Zoroark, because once this... The tricky part is we want a Glutton GX, right? Because if I declare any other attack, it opens up Sledgehammer from Sobi's Buzzwole, which can get a knockout, which can be quite scary. So definitely have to watch out for that play potentially happening, but for now, I'm quite happy. I could also... I did kind of realize there was another play I could have made that turn, but I don't think it was very good. I could have actually declared Devilish Hands GX there for a knockout on his Buzzwole. However, his other Buzzwole is set up to do a knockout of its own. I don't have the best like retaliation. Granted, actually though, I would have an Aganadel that could just immediately knock out that Buzzwole. So I don't know. I could have potentially Devilish Hands, but I think knocking out this Buzzwole, if I can with the Glutton GX, is the ideal play. However, with no cards currently in hand, that could be a bit difficult. So next turn, I'm going to have 3 Dark Energy to work with. They can all be used on the Naganadel to knock out this Buzzwole, but then his Buzzwole could get a return knockout, and then I have nothing in play. So I'm kind of relying now, I think, on knocking out his Buzzwole and then finding energy that way. Another play I could actually make that could have been really smart upon reflection could have been to try and force Sobi to have a switch card. I could have brought up my Poipole and then gone for Spit Poison on his Buzzwole, which would have been great. Or if I had the Belt Poipole, I could have used that to get a knockout here. But neither of those things are going to happen. We are going to see what Sobi does here. I have currently no cards in hand. And, you know, I'm feeling in an interesting position here. I think the Shadow Box is a little bit annoying for me, for sure, but it's not super detrimental. It is shutting down the Zoroark, but I do have a second Stealthy Hood in the deck that I could be able to access that would be able to alleviate that, and I'd be able to go for trades again. I could also try and find the Ultra Conversion Naganadel, because if he doesn't get another Shrine down, then that Naganadel can just start drawing me plenty of cards. So we see a Rainbow Energy come down, and then he is going to choose to sprint away that hand, and we are going to go from there. So we do see the Frostlass is coming down. We see that Buzzwole is still very weak, and he is going to let us knock out the Buzzwole. So the tricky part now, I guess, comes down to what do we knock out the Buzzwole with? So there isn't really a card I can draw this turn that can probably get me the knockout. So I think, yeah, Naganadel is going to be the card I choose to get the knockout here. We do draw into a reset stamp. It's pretty useless though, honestly, because he does have the Zeb Striker. So I think I'm going to hold on to the reset stamp until he's lower on prizes. So at least I have to force him to, you know, dig a bit deeper with his sprint and not make it as easy as it would be to find all the cards he needs. But yeah, we are going to have to go for the Turning Point attack here to get a knockout. Really bad for us, honestly, because Sobi can just get the return knockout potentially with Sledgehammer. I actually think Sledgehammer will just miss knockout though, as we do see a Dark Energy, which isn't too bad to see, and we see an Oak setup, which is also not the worst card to be seeing at this point of the game. We do have a lot of options that we can still access on this next turn. Oak setup is a very solid one though, because it can allow us to instruct if we want to get to the Oranguru on our next turn if we know we're going to get knocked out, which it looks like we are by this Frostlass here. We're going to see the Spiteful Sigh, and he would need to knock himself out to knock us out, which is exactly what Sobi chooses to do. So we do get an extra prize off of this, which means that if we knock out any of Sobi's basic Pokemon now with Glutton GX, we will win the game. We get another Darkness Energy, which is pretty nice. In terms of choosing what to bring up, I think I go with... This was a tough choice. I think I choose the Poipole, but it could be the Guzzlord. I mean, Guzzlord's a bit of a risk, though. I think, of anything, it's probably going to be the Poipole, because I don't think he has a way of knocking the Poipole out immediately. And Sobi's going to choose probably the Grimer. Oh, he chooses Arceus. So this is an interesting play. So now we've got some interesting situations here. We get the Fishing Rod, which is really nice, because it gets us back an Aganadel into the deck, which I really like. That means we can get another Poipole down and go from there. Because we can go for the Fishing Rod and then guarantees. We're going to stamp him just because I want Sobi to, like, I'm forcing him to have to sprint regardless. And I make a bit of a mistake here. I just haven't really read Arceus Prism Star's ability. about what it can do. I'm going to choose to Fishing Rod here to grab back. I think it is just the Naganadel. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Naganadel is probably better to grab back here than the Poipole. Yeah, because I do have an automatic way of getting a Poipole into play right now with Oak's Research. And we can use this to not only grab Poipole, but we can also grab the Oranguru, as you see there, which is very, very strong for us. It also puts Sobi in a tricky position because he could put down the Power of Alchemy Muck to prevent this Oranguru from being an issue in the future. But in doing that, we draw in all our energy, which is kind of terrible. And this is where I don't realize that Arceus is protected by Spit Poison, but it's whatever. Like, I was like, okay, sure. It didn't really bother me because I didn't think he was going to be attacking with it. Sobi does have one more switch in deck, which was the only kind of fear that I had at this stage. Other than that, I was feeling pretty confident heading into this next turn. Probably the ideal card that I could try and draw into could have been like red and blue. If I could have found it, would have been really nice. But we are going to see what Sobi does here. He does get an energy attachment onto the Ultra Necrozma. And we are going to see a Friend Ball. So what is Sobi going to find off this Friend Ball? Could be a normal type, could be a Psychic type, could be a Dark type. Sobi goes to the Shining Mew, which is fair enough. And I think he is just going to sprint away the Shining Mew from memory. Yeah, so just throws off the sprint here. Going to be able to draw into some more resources. And he puts down a second shrine, so that's a bit annoying, but he does just pass. So that's quite good for me that he just passes. It gives me a bit of time to set up. I have nothing really going for me at this stage, which was super disheartening. He does have a Buzzwole set up that I was a little bit afraid of, but it can only do 120 damage, so that isn't going to be enough to knock out a Turning Point Naganadel, which is super impactful. I know that I can try and get some energy down. I can't use the trade with Zoroark because the Mimikyu is in play, so all I can really do here is attach an energy and know that even if Poipole does go down, next turn, if he brings up that Ultra Necrozma, I can knock it out with the Zoroark, with the Righteous Beating, and we can go from there. He is actually in a bit of an awkward situation, though, because the Ultra Necrozma has... the Ultra Necrozma has 100 HP at this stage, so if I was able to get, say, a red and blue into play and get one of my Naganadels up, then I would be able to probably accelerate enough energy to be able to get the Glutton GX knockout if he brought it up to the active. Another draw into energy for us is not super ideal. Sobi, though, the only plus that we have in this matchup right now is that Sobi is running out of cards. He's extending a lot, but he's not really finding the things that he needs. I'm thinking that Trickster GX could be a potential, but like it doesn't really matter now that his Buzzwole's gone, so I'm not worrying about the GX attack anymore. I'm just worried about getting energy stockpiled. So I know now, with the cards that I have in play, that if I'm able to draw into red and blue, there's a chance that I could Glutton GX, but it is very unlikely, given, I mean, I have to discard Reset Stamp, plus the energy, get to the other Naga GX, get the 2 Dark energies onto that, attach the last Dark, bring that up, but that also requires him to have this. So we did have all the sequencing that we needed to potentially just win if we were able to draw into... oh no, we didn't, sorry, because that energy that's in play is going to go to the discard. So there was no way that we could have red and blued on this next turn to win the game with Guzzlord, so I had to think of a different strategy. I couldn't really afford to attack with Zoroark against this Ultra Necrozma, purely because using the Zoroark would allow his Buzzwole with just one more energy attachment to knock me out. We see an interesting play from Sobi, though, where he actually chooses to bring up the Muck here. Trying to shut down the Oranguru, I guess, and goes for Luster of Downfall. The interesting part, I guess, of that play is that I know now that if he declares Swing Around, my Zoroark will just die. So I have to bring up the Poipole, I think, at this stage, and just kind of pray. There's nothing else I can really use that can get a significant knockout. So I'm in a pretty bad spot here. I'm going to need a pretty good top deck to keep myself in the game, but I do have trade with Zoroark, so I think I have to bring up this Poipole and then go from there. I know there's a lot of outs left in my deck, though. I have a red and blue. I have a Lele that can search for it if I need to. So we are definitely not out of the woods yet, although I can't use Lele's ability right now, but I do get an amazing top deck right there in the Naganadel GX. Naganadel GX is fantastic because it can knock out his Ultra Necrozma, and his Buzzwole then can't get the return knockout. So that was pretty huge. Sobi was sitting here thinking, I've got game, right? And I was like, I don't know, man. I think this is still pretty close. So we're going to get the Naganadel down. And what this also allows us to do is stockpile a few energies. We do have the Psychic Energy to attach in hand. And this is where I kind of realized, oh, I can go for trade with Zoroark as well. I think it was after doing the attachment shenanigans. Oh, it is not playing. One sec. Let me try and... What's going on here? My Camtasia is being a little bit funny on me here. I think it's good now. I think so. Yeah, we're good. We're good. So yeah, I do just move the energy onto the Naganadel here. Fantastic. And then I'm looking at Zoroark, I think, at this stage. I can't remember if it was this turn. It's one this turn or next turn. I remember that, oh, there's a muck in place where I can use Zoroark. Because I'm probably wondering to myself, why is my Zoroark flashing? I think it's either now or next turn I realize that I can go for trade. So I'm kind of analyzing the situation here because I know that Sobi has... I don't really want to use a reset stamp again. So yeah, I realize I can trade. I think I get rid of the... I probably should have got rid of the stamp there, but I hold on to the stamp in case Sobi tries to stockpile cards in deck and I can force them out. We're going to Lusamine so we can get a Stadium bump and the red and blue. The red and blue is impactful because it can potentially allow us to evolve another Pokemon in the future, but the Stadium bump is very important. And the attack declaration here is very important. I do throw another stamp out there because I want to force Sobi to use Sprint again to thin his deck out of his resources. And the Guzzlord in hand is actually super impactful heading into next turn. I don't want to bench him though. I need that bench space because if I can find something like Tapu Lele, that could just wrap the game up. Because then I knock out Buzzwole and he has nothing left to attack with. And I could just seal the game through that. So... we put Sobi under a lot of pressure here because we knock out this Ultra and Cross, but then all that's left really to attack with is his Buzzwole. And I can use Altar of the Moon to free retreat Naganadel out to another attacker to potentially knock out the Buzzwole. The difficult thing for me right now, though, is that I don't have a way of knocking out his Buzzwole. Beast Raid could get the job done if I had a Choice Band. That is a difficult part right now, is not having access to that Choice Band is going to make it slightly harder to knock out this Buzzwole. However, we do have the trade with Zoroark that we can access, so feeling pretty good about that. We do see him go for the How. I know that he's got to be running low on cards at this stage, and so it could be potentially just a plan of survival. I think at one point, like, I look over at Sobi's deck to see how many cards are actually remaining, and see a potential way out with that. I can't remember when I do it, but that's one of the strategies to winning, right? Is if you know your opponent's low on cards and you could potentially just deck them out. We do see the attach onto the Buzzwole, and we do see a sprint, so we know, I think I see now, I'm looking over at how many cards might be left. He was really mad because he had to ditch so many good cards there off of the sprint, but he knew he had to try and draw into another attacker. There's only 2 cards left in Sobi's deck, and he needs to take 2 more prizes, so obviously it'd be very easy for him to just gust and knock out a GX, but I'm not going to allow it to be an easy job. So we know that another one of those attacks will knock me out, and the top deck is not super great, but I do have trade Zoroark. Because he put down that muck, he's actually given me a chance to find a way out here, so I can trade away the red and blue, and that is going to allow me to draw into a Cherish Ball, and the Cherish Ball is an incredible find off of this, what do you call it? Off of this trade, because that allows me to get to Tapu Lele GX. And Tapu Lele GX won't be able to knock out Buzzwole, but next turn he goes in, Buzzwole attacks me, he can't get the knockout, I can then proceed to knock out Buzzwole on the next turn after that, and Sobi doesn't have any other attackers in play that can get to a knockout. So on his next turn, he has to bench something that can attack into me next turn, or else he will lose the game after I knock out his Buzzwole. So I see the line of play that can win me the game, and that is to Cherish Ball here and hope that Lele is in the deck, and there she is, the beautiful Tapu Lele. There is no other card to grab here at all because the rest of them are weak. I can't... The other play I could have done potentially is I could have grabbed Noivern, but I don't think that was the play at all. I don't think Noivern would have changed anything. Lele was definitely the card to grab because Buzzwole's attack, even with the Beast Energy attached, would not be able to get knockout because it's 30 plus whatever damage it did, and it does 80 plus 20 for each head, so that would have got to 150. That wouldn't have been enough to knock a Lele out. So we grab the Lele, and then we can go for the energy drive here, which will barely miss out on knocking out his Buzzwole. I need one more energy on the field of play, which I just don't have access to. I couldn't find a way of getting to any more of my energies. If I had one more darkness energy in play, then I could have used that with Lele to get the knockout here, and I think that would have just sealed the game for me, because I would have just needed one more prize, and then there was enough darkness energy on the board where I could have just gone with Lele again and just knocked out anything that I wanted, or I could have used even Zoroark to knock out anything. So we are going to grab the Lele here, and we don't need to copy anything else. I think we just go for the energy drive because he has no way to knock us out. On the next turn as well, the other play that I can make is I can actually allow my Oranguru to get knocked out, because I think he's used both of his shrines and he only has one more Ultra Space, so he has no more Stadium bump. So I can put down the Oranguru, he can knock that out, but then he'll have no cards left in deck, so then I would just win the game via deck out. So I've got way too many outs to this situation. I have a Pokemon that can knock out his Buzzwole in 2 shots. He draws, he attacks. I can put up Guru, he draws his last card, he attacks, he can't take that last prize, and then I would just win regardless. So it's at this point realizing that I should have the game won. I also was reading this for a second because it dawned on me that I can't actually use the ability here because of the Muck being in play, but then I was like, it doesn't really matter because I can just go ham on this turn anyway with the energy drive. I could have also used, if I had the energy for it, I could have used Tapu Cure GX, although that wouldn't have been super viable in this situation. I think the better play was just the energy drive. I put pressure on Sobi that way. Just eliminate any chance of him having a way out, because he didn't have any psychic attackers he could use right now. So yeah, it was dawning on me about this stage that I had him checkmated. I'm not sure what I was reading up on the card for, but eventually I do, you know, grow a brain cell and bench it. I'm wondering if okay, yeah, great, it did lag. So let's go back for a sec. I search for the Lele, and this is where we're at, and I do just bench the Lele and go from there. So there's no other play that really needs to be made. I can see the path of victory. We know there's only 2 cards left in Sobi's deck, so I'm hoping that now I can actually make the play. That would be great. I'm not sure why it was taking so long when I was playing. I think it's because we were talking at the same time, so we were just having some fun conversations. But yeah, because of Altar of the Moon, I can just freely retreat. Sobi knows that, and so he just scoops. So we're going to go into game. Alrighty, we're into game 2 here. Sobi is going to elect to go first again, and we open with an okay hand. It's okay because we have the Poipole, which is fine to have as our starter. Ideally, I would have liked Hooper again, but this is okay because we do have access to an Ultra Ball, and if the Ultra Ball can find us the Tapu Lele GX, then Lele can help us find, what is it? Lele can help us find the Professor Oak setup, which basically gets everything we need at this stage of the game. So that's the way I'm looking at it. We draw into another Dark Energy, which is great too. So I'm trying to think of like what I want to discard off this Ultra Ball. I want to keep the Field Blower, and I kind of want to keep the Altar of the Sun. So I'm thinking of ditching a Dark Energy and then the Fishing Rod or the Field Blower. I'm tossing up between the two. I think I choose the Rod in the end. Yeah, I think I choose the Rod because I know that the Choice Band is important, and I just want to grab my Lele if it's in deck. And unfortunately, Lele's not in deck, so I was like, okay, that's a problem. We're probably just gonna... Well, I was thinking of Hooper, but I was like, is there a better card I could add? And I was like, well, I could add the Let Loose Marshadow here. And Let Loose Marshadow might have to be the play, because the hand is looking kind of dicey, and we need a way out of this. So I'm thinking about it, I know Sobi's got 4 cards in hand, but my hand is not going to be able to do anything without Lele or Marshadow, so we do see an attachment, and we do see the Let Loose go down. I know this could help Sobi out as well, but I'm hoping it gives me the cards I need, and oh boy, does it. We hit Zorua into Zoroark into a Stealthy Hood, which is nuts. That is insanely good for us off that turn. So we get kind of bailed out of Lele being prized, and so we can now kind of construct a bit better of a strategy. We do see him throw down a Hop, so the Let Loose did allow him to get into some better cards, but he currently doesn't have a way of getting that Oranguru out of active. He'd have to attach another energy to the Oranguru and then retreat it out to Grimer, but we do see him choose to bench the Snorunt here. I can't remember if he attaches an energy or not. That was one of the interesting things in this game. He does choose to immediately get down that Muck, which is quite surprising. I mean, I guess it's just to cover if I get the Oranguru into play, but I do have a Stealthy Hood actually in my hand for such a situation, so I'm hoping whatever I top deck is just a card that I can burn. So we do see him choose to attach to the Snorunt and Resource Management instead of holding the Muck in hand, attaching to the Guru and then retreating it. So that poison's going to stack up on the Guru, which is kind of nice, and I'm going to draw for turn, and I hit Altar of the Moon. So I have to think about what card I want to discard here. It's a pretty annoying choice, honestly. I think all of them have a merit. I think the one I end up choosing could be Altar of the Moon, just because I have a Stealthy Hood in my hand. So then the Shrine of Punishment doesn't matter. And we draw into red and blue, and I'm like, holy hell, I'm really annoyed. Because if I didn't attach that energy to Zoroark, I could have got a free knockout this turn. I could have held that energy in hand, and then I would have been able to discard the Stealthy Hood and energy to be able to get a knockout here. And then I realized that my Stinger Naga is priced. I was going to try and get the Stinger Naga here to get a free knockout and then put a lot of pressure on Sobi, because his Frostlats wouldn't be able to get the return knockout. Unfortunately, that isn't going to happen, and we get this Naga out, and so I'm in a situation of like, right, I need to draw into some energy, but I attached to the Zoroark like an idiot, so I would have had the energy to knock out that Snorunt on the bench, which would have been the prime target of my attacks. The Guru I don't care about if I have this Naganadel in the active, so I'm pretty annoyed that I didn't just put that energy, keep it in my hand at least until after I went for trade. Definitely a misplay on my part for sure. Also a little bit annoyed that I had to discard the Stealthy Hood, because if he does have a way of spreading damage and gets that Mimikyu down, then that could limit me a lot, but he is just continuing to Resource Management. So now I'm in a situation of saying, okay, so Sobi's going to add these cards back into his deck, but his Guru is going to slowly die to poison if he never gets it out of the active. And so what I can just do is, I was contemplating using Lusamine on this turn, but I decided against it because I thought to myself, if I trade away the Lusamine and draw into Oak Setup, that's much better. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen, and I don't really draw into anything great here. I do get the Ultra Conversion, though, which I am going to wholeheartedly go for, and it does draw me into some okay options for next turn. Nothing super great right now, but we have Ultra Conversion plus Trade heading into next turn, so I feel confident that on our next turn we can draw into the cards that we need to kind of get the job done here. The plus side, I guess, is that Sobi doesn't really have anything that he's doing right now. Like, he's just sitting here with an Oranguru that's poisoned in the active, and not a whole lot else is happening. So, feeling pretty strong at this stage. As weird as it is not having a lot of the outs that I would have wanted, as we do see a freeze again. Let's play that again, please. Sorry. As well as not having the outs that I wanted, I feel pretty good at this stage of the game, because Naganadel puts a lot of pressure on. If he chooses to never take the Oranguru out of active, then it'll actually just die to poison between 7 turns, which is kind of nuts. So I like that a lot. So I'm not really sure. Like, Sobi's got a quick ball search here. I think he's going to go for either the Ultra Necrozma or the Buzzwole here to put a bit of pressure on. I wouldn't be surprised with the Ultra Necrozma. Naganadel GX is actually just a massive threat for Sobi, especially if I can get the the other Naganadel set up, because it's just an energy attachment each turn, and then a recovery, and then I can just keep spamming Venom Shot and taking out his best Pokemon on his bench every time. So we are going to see that Naganadel, the Ultra Necrozma come down, and we are going to see an Aurora attached to it, and then a Resource Management. But heading into my turn, I'm feeling pretty confident because I have a draw 3 and a draw for 2, so I have 5 cards that I'm going to be seeing on my next turn off that Zorua and the Blacephalon. I could even choose to discard the Noivern here if I wanted to, but I'm choosing not to. I'm just going to trade away that, and I'm hoping to draw into an energy. Still haven't hit this energy yet, and I'm like, what have I got to do to get an energy around here? Please tell me I can get one off discarding this Blacephalon. And no, I just can't seem to find the energy, and I couldn't believe what was happening. I just was lost for words, but I knew there was a very good chance I could find it next turn, so I contemplate benching Poipole at this stage, and I'm potentially going to throw that Cherish Ball out there to see what I have to work with. We know the Weavile's in there, we know that the Darkrai is in there. I choose the Darkrai, I'm pretty sure, because of all the Pokemon, it is the best discard fodder for my deck, and it can allow me to recover some cards. So I think, yeah, Darkrai is the best choice, because I can discard it off of the trade next turn, and then bring it back for an energy acceleration. I'm just really annoyed that I haven't hit an energy. Just a lot of good cards must have been prized this game, but still, the plus side for me is that Sobi is not having a great time either, so I am able to take advantage of the situation. I'm going to bench that Poi Pole. I'm not going to play anything other than the Rod to get back the Stinger, not the Stinger, the Charging Up and the Hood, so that Zoroark has a chance next turn. And then we're just going to pass. So Sobi needs like a switch as well as an energy to be able to attack on his next turn. I'm hoping he can't find both off of a 2-card hand. We see an Alima top deck though, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding. Fortunately, Sobi flips the tails. Doesn't really matter if I flip the tails, I'm just seeing cards at this stage, but still no energy. And I'm like, how? Fortunately, he did hit a tails in that Alima for himself, because that could have got him almost all the cards he needed. We see a Great Ball come out. He's still hunting for resources, maybe for that Buzzwole GX at some point, or even the Sledgehammer Buzzwole could be really handy at this stage. We do see him go for the Big Cut Katana here, which is a very interesting card to go with. We are going to see the Blitzel benched, and then we're going to see that Shrine come down. That's what I was worried about, but there's no Mimikyu on his bench, so I'm actually not too concerned about the Shrine as of this stage. If he had benched the Mimikyu there in conjunction with Shrine, I could have been in a lot of trouble for sure, but that didn't happen, so very fortunate there. We don't have an Ultra Beast to use just yet for the Naganadel, so I'm hoping I can hit what I need off of this Zoroark. We're going to get rid of that Noibat for sure, and hopefully draw into an energy, and there we go! There's the energy we wanted. Finally found it, and I know exactly which card I'm knocking out off of Sobi's bench on this turn. There's no, like, reset stamping would be the worst thing ever. We are just going to declare Venom Shot here, and we are going to take out that Ultra Necrozma. Absolutely. There is no reason not to knock that thing out. Because the Poison still stacks up on the Guru, that sets up another knockout in the future, and we can just start now using Venom Shot potentially to pick off all of Sobi's bench. We pick up an Acerola here, which could maybe be a good card later in the game. It's not super great right now in this board state. The ideal card I could find right now maybe would be Red and Blue. Red and Blue would allow me to evolve into the Weavile GX and get 2 more Dark Energies into the field of play. I wouldn't also mind seeing the Charging Up Naganadel come out. Either of those would be fantastic to find. So we are going to see what the top deck is. And we do see another Poi Pole. So I could use my Naganadel GX here to get rid of that Poi Pole and see some more cards before I attempt to trade. I think that is the option I'm going to go for here. And we are going to be able to draw into that Weavile, which is fantastic because we have an energy on board with the Zoroark already that I attached, and now I can attach the Psychic from hand, and that means that Venom Shot can get rid of that Frostlass. I think I'm going to choose to get rid of the Reset Stamp here. I think that judging on Sobi's hand, it is the best card just to ditch. And we do find ourselves getting Ultra of the Moon as a Stadium Bump as well, and Sobi's just he's in a world of pain right now because I'm going to get rid of that Frostlass, and then he's going to have no more attackers to be able to use, and that's going to be fantastic for me in this game. We do have that one Psychic Energy to attach for turn. Nothing else really needs to be played. We can just Venom Shot that Frostlass, and then Guru's going to go down, and then it's going to be just a huge advantage. So Guru's going to go down on my next turn, on Sobi's next turn, if he doesn't find a way to retreat it. We're going to get rid of, I think it was the 2 Dark Energies. Yeah, it makes sense in this situation. So yeah, we're going to get rid of that get rid of that Frostlass, and then Guru will die at the end of Sobi's turn if he can't recruit it. There's the Lele, a little bit late to the party, Lele, but that's alright. We're still happy to see you, because if somebody does get knocked out, that automatically guarantees me to be able to get to Red and Blue if I want it, but I do have the Stinger prize, so it wouldn't be super impactful. Another good supporter here maybe could be the, Oak setup later on, if some things get knocked out. But for now, we're just going to see a Resource Management, and then Guru is going to get knocked out. And so Sobi is currently sitting with no prize cards taken, and I am already 3 prize cards up without using a GX attack, which means just 1 Glutton GX would kind of finish the game off, and Sobi just kind of scoops it up there. I don't blame him for doing that. I think that at that stage of the game, it was kind of beyond doubt. I just had way too much advantage. He wasn't able to draw into the cards he needed. He kind of said that he bricked after the Alima flip tails, which is unfortunate for sure. I felt like, though, if I was able to get off that extra energy attachment at the start of the game with that Naganadel, things could have gone a lot differently. I also could have got that other Naganadel, the Stinger one, out, and I could have got a knockout immediately on Guru, and given that his hand was low, that could have allowed me to take back-to-back knockouts on turns and just keep Sobi under immense pressure. So yeah, definitely happy with how that went. We did pick up a 2-0 win there against Sobi, so we do start this off with a W. The next game I'll be showing you will be my game against Mitch, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that one. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Averd. I'm out.